Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to another Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the horror guru.
I'm Count Jackula.
And just to give you all a bit of an update, the reason Jack did an update on his channel, but since this is going to be my next video, I figure I will do an update here. 2 weeks ago, we got back from MagFest, which is a convention in Maryland, where we saw a whole bunch of Channel Awesome and other video producers. And when we got back, we kind of got con crud as a result.
Yep.
So we've been kind of laid out with a flu, throat flu, for the better part of 2 weeks. So our voices have been unrecordable, which is why this vlog on Ash vs. the Evil Dead has been put off so long, because we actually caught up with Ash vs. the Evil Dead before we went to MagFest.
Yep.
But we didn't have time to record it until we got back. But by the time we got back, our voices were fucking like dead because of the
there's no way
flu.
we're gonna be able to record anything of any significant length.
So we're gonna try our best to remember the events of Ash vs. the Evil Dead like very clearly, because it has been like 3 weeks since we finished it.
Yeah.
But we did finish it, and to give you the spoiler-free version, holy shit, guys. If you like Evil Dead, hell, if you don't even like Evil Dead, but you like fucking good, hilarious horror comedy television, then fucking see Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Ash vs. Evil Dead. Like, you like Evil Dead 1, 2.
Oh, God,
this is gonna be your jam.
Absolutely. This thing gives you everything you want and more. And it does everything that a good Evil Dead sequel does.
Yes.
It retcons the events of the previous movies in a certain way. It slightly changes Ash for the purposes of this story.
Yeah. It's basically what they kind of did was they retconned a little bit of 1 and 2 while keeping the major beats, like, you know, he goes to a cabin in the woods with his friends, his girlfriend dies, all that jazz happens.
Yeah.
The one thing we're not sure happens is whether or not Army of Darkness occurs.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a rights issue thing, because they're obviously able to show footage from Evil Dead 2 and 1, but Army of Darkness and the whole events of that movie aren't really brought up in this movie.
Yeah, the only way they're brought up is that the Ash from Army of Darkness is almost identical to the one in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. The one in the show is obviously a continuation of Army of Darkness's Ash, where he is a completely unself-aware, chauvinistic, self-important douchebag.
Yeah.
In the most glorious way possible. I say that with all the love.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ash in this is just like, he's good at one thing, and that's killing deadites. Everything else, he's completely incompetent.
Well, actually
wait,
he's really good at laying the ladies, despite the fact that he probably shouldn't be able to.
Yes, which is very endearing.
Yeah.
So basically, okay, so they slightly change him a little bit from Army of Darkness in that, because it's a TV show, unlike Army of Darkness or any of the movies, you get to spend more time with him and get to know more about him.
Yeah.
You know, you get to know what he likes musically, like the kind of music he listens to. Like, that's something that you never came up in the movies.
Yeah, they came up with a whole bunch of shit that they realized we didn't actually know about Ash and expounded upon it.
Yeah, they even included, like, his actual life goals. Like, he just wants to go to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, which is like, you want to go to Florida? Okay, fine. I guess whatever, Ash. I mean, that does kind of fit your personality to a certain extent. And the other thing that it does is you get a whole lot of fucking bloody dead-eyed action.
Oh, yeah.
The show uses a little bit more digital effects than any of the movies did, because the movies were made pre-digital effects, so... but it doesn't matter because...
No, it really doesn't.
Because it's mainly used for things like shots that really would have been accomplished, like some sort of matting or some sort of...
there's a lot of... Rather than doing it to like, oh, well, we've got a digital effect monster, it's basically compositing.
Yeah, it's compositing. It's like, hey, we want to do that cool thing where, like, Ash flips up the chainsaw and then catches it with his hand. Like, well, how do we do that practically? Well, in one shot, we can't do it practically, but we can do it digitally in one shot.
Yeah.
And you know, and it looks cooler when it's done in one shot. So
so we'll do it that way.
You know, it doesn't really get in the way.
Yeah, CGI doesn't get in the way at all.
But you get a whole lot of awesome Deadites, and they act like Deadites. Like,
yeah, you get a lot of new Deadites in this show, too.
Yes, because they expand upon the Deadite mythology, so you get a whole lot of creepy fucking monsters that are also Deadites, but not the normal Deadites we're used to. But those normal Deadites are still here. They're very much here. And they still fuck with Ash like nobody's business.
Oh my god, like, it was so good to have the Deadites back.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean, like, you know, the assholes who fucking, like, you know, kill a person and then start puppeteering them and be like, dead by dawn, dead by dawn.
I fucking miss that shit. That shit's great.
Yeah. Like, they're just such gleeful assholes.
Absolutely. And it is beautiful. The other stuff you get, a whole lot of great slapstick comedy and shit. Not to the slapstick isn't to the extent that Army of Darkness or
No, it does it better. It is, rather than Army of Darkness, which is like an action comedy with some horror elements, this is a horror comedy.
Yes.
You know, there are a lot of moments where I jumped.
Yeah. Bring it to a certain extent back to Evil Dead 2 a little more.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how else to talk about the movie anymore without just going into spoilers. So here's your spoiler warning. Alrighty then. Ash versus... Okay, so here's what happens in the show. Ash, the stupid fucking idiot that he is, gets high with some chick that he wants to bang, and tries to impress her because she's all talking about poetry and shit like that. And he's like, I got some poetry for you, and gets all high with her, and then reads from the Necronomicon, which he keeps on him, by the way, because Ash is a fucking moron. He keeps the Necronomicon on him and reads from it to impress this girl when he's really fucking high, unleashes the evil dead upon the earth once more. And it's not just in the town anymore or in the cabin anymore. This is like global fucking unleash.
Yeah. They're just like, yes, finally.
Like you're like watching like news reports of fucking like sinkholes popping up around like cities and shit.
Yeah. It's got like that supernatural type of scope.
Absolutely. And so Ash is like, well, shit, I gotta get the fuck out of town, because of course he's not gonna bother to fix up his own mistake. He's gonna run away because this is the Ash from Army of Darkness through and through.
Yeah.
Oh god, this actually leads to the one thing that I was actually a little disappointed at. It's a minor thing. So it turns out Ash in this movie, much like in the other movies, works at a convenience store.
Yeah.
Or a shopping mart or grocery store.
Yeah.
But
the important detail is that it is unfortunately not an S-Mart.
It's not an S-Mart, and I'm like, would it really been that hard to make it an S-Mart? Because the fans in the audience would have been like, oh yeah, it's fucking S-Mart, shop S-Mart. But it's not an S-Mart, and I don't know why they didn't make it one.
Yeah, the only thing I'd come back to is that maybe it was a rights issue.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is that perhaps, because for those of you who don't know, the reason, Evil Dead 2 started the tradition of every Evil Dead movie kind of retconning parts of the previous movie. In Evil Dead 2, basically what happened was they wanted to show footage from the original movie in a brief little recap to bring everyone up to speed for the second one, because the first movie was kind of a cult hit, and the second one was going to theaters.
So they wanted you to have a complete understanding of what was going on.
They wanted you to be able to go into that movie and not see the first one and still be completely caught up. But because the rights to the first one were so fucking complicated, they couldn't secure it for the movie. So what they did is they shot a condensed recap of the first movie. They reshot one that changed a bunch of things just to suit this movie.
Yeah. Like, for instance, like he goes to the cabin alone with his girlfriend.
Yeah, as opposed to the first movie where he went with a group of friends. And then basically they just did that because they didn't need to bring up the other friends for the sake of this movie.
Yeah,
so it's
all you need to know about is Linda.
You know, but that's sort of tradition because then Army of Darkness retconned aspects of the beginning of the end of Evil Dead 2. For example, at the end of Evil Dead 2, he lands in the Middle Ages and everyone's worshiping him.
Yeah.
That's not how it begins in Army of Darkness. No. So like it began a tradition. This movie, this show, retcons aspects of the previous movies too, and I guess they retconned S-Mart. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can only think that maybe the same thing that happened in Evil Dead 2 happened here, where maybe they just couldn't show Army of Darkness because of a rights thing.
Yeah, it could have been tied up with a whole bunch of other stuff. It's extremely possible.
You know, which is fair enough. Like, you could always just assume it's something that happened, but not actually bring it up, because who cares? You could always bring up Evil Dead 2, and that's usually enough. But yeah, I was a little disappointed it wasn't an S-Mart, but whatever. So he goes to his boss and is like, hey, I need to get my last check because my friend is sick. You're gonna use your iguana sick thing again, like
yeah.
And he's like, no. He's like, no, you're gonna work to the day end. He's like, okay. And this is when we're introduced to our two other characters. Because this is one of the other difference between Ash versus the Evil Dead and the other movies is that in those movies, especially 2 and Army of Darkness, Ash is kind of alone in his
even
war
though
against
there
the
are
Deadites.
people around him, but like they're way out of their depth.
Absolutely, but this introduces 2 characters who fight alongside him throughout the entire show. One of them is Paco. I fucking love Paco. I was so worried Paco was just going to be a Hispanic stereotype.
Yeah.
Not much more to him, but he turns out to be one of the most endearing characters of the show. He is basically he's the optimist of the group. He believes in the best in everybody, and he's also the one with the closest ties to like the mythic. And then
because his uncle or grandfather is actually a brujo.
You
know, who knows all about the Evil Dead.
Absolutely, which he mentions, and you just think that's an offhand comment, but that character actually shows up later. To exercise some shit out of Ash and like sends him on a vision quest, which is where we learn of Jacksonville, which was such weird little detail.
Yeah, there is an acid trip episode.
He takes some peyote with the Bruja and the Brujo, or what was it?
Bruja.
We are fucking terrible Americans who can't pronounce shit. So he takes the peyote with that, and he has a vision quest, and like imagines an iguana telling him what he's got to do.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? And he's like on like a fucking pier looking at Jacksonville, like drinking like a beer, and the iguana's like, you gotta go back to the cabin, you gotta bury the book, you know. And he's like, oh, okay. And that kind of sets like the entire plot of the show. But we're kind of jumping ahead there.
Yeah, we're jumping ahead. The first episode is a lot of setup, but here's the great thing. The first episode is directed by the man himself, Sam Raimi.
And you can feel it. Like, this feels like a Sam Raimi television show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he doesn't direct the whole show. So the rest of the show feels a little bit more television, a little less Raimi, but they try to do their best to throw a lot of Raimi-isms in there so that at least feels like a coherent show.
Yeah. And for the most part, they succeed.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
You know, it's just, for lack of a better way of putting it, like, you can't fuck with the master.
No. You can imitate him as much as you can, but you will never match up to him.
Yeah. And even like working in television, Raimi feels like Raimi.
Yeah. And you could definitely feel the difference when you get to the second episode.
Yeah.
But it's
in
not...
the first one, they do all the classic like Evil Dead shit, like the fucking camera moving and in fucking first-person perspective and all that shit.
Here's the funny thing, like another show that it made me think of, but it's not nearly as drastic as this. I don't know if you ever saw the pilot of House, which was...
I didn't, no.
The pilot of House was directed by Bryan Singer. But the rest of the show was just normal television directors and stuff like that. And when you watch the pilot of House, it feels like a very epic fucking like movie quality fucking show about this doctor and this thing. And then you get the second episode, it's like normal television all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's not that drastic.
Yeah,
it's not that drastic.
It feels like really good television.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, And the other character we're introduced to is these are both co-workers at his convenience store, by the way. Is oh god, what's her name? Fuck.
Shit, I can't remember.
I can't remember her name. God damn it. This is gonna fucking haunt me. This is the problem with doing this like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
I can't remember the character's name, but we're introduced to a girl who's essentially kind of like the cynical, snarky, almost Daria-esque one.
Yeah. Very, very like New Jersey girl.
Yeah. Take no shit kind of character. Her family, oh god, like the demons are unleashed. And her mom shows up at her dad's doorstep while she's in a call, like a video call with him. And, oh man. Like,
yeah.
And her mom died weeks before.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I should bring up, is that as much as this is a goofy, over-the-top, gory horror comedy show, it's got some feelings.
Yeah,
man.
it does. It does.
It totally
does a really good. Well, it has to. Like that's always been one of the, the heart and soul of Evil Dead has always been watching terrible things happen to people you care about. Absolutely. Like in the first one, it's watching all of his friends get possessed. And
this show pulls no punches.
Oh God, no!
Do not get attached. Do not get attached.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
you're gonna, but don't. Whoa.
So basically, all hell breaks loose. People start getting possessed. Paco and Ash ends up fighting a fucking like bunch of dolls inside the storeroom.
The store. Yeah, because the Deadites are now just possess because continuing with the second one where the Deadites are possessing the house and the fucking like animal heads and shit. Like, they possess dolls and just do fucked up things.
And Paco saves him, and Paco then learns about Ash and the Evil Dead. And here's where we get, like, a recap of, like, the first two movies. That's when you first get the indication, because you see nothing of Army of Darkness, that, okay, well, I guess they're just not going into that one.
Yeah, they're avoiding it.
And Paco's like, oh, dude, this is destiny calling. You gotta fight it. And he's like, no, I'm getting the fuck out of here. It's like, no, man, you're the one. You're the hero. Destiny chose you, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that, whatever. And he just takes off back to his fucking trailer park. He lives in a trailer
park. Yeah.
He lives in a trailer park. Oh my fucking God.
Yeah, it's very much like, it's very much shades of, Man Named Bruce.
Yes. Or My Name is Bruce.
My Name is Bruce, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, he's actually playing a little bit closer to My Name is Bruce in this than some of his other roles.
Yeah. I love how he introduces himself to the Jersey girl.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's trying to get something from her, and he's putting on the charm, but she's like early 20s.
Yeah.
And is looking at him. It's like, you're old. He's like, hey, I know I got, fake hip, fake teeth. I'm an old guy, but I know that look. Someday, it'll happen soon. You're going to look at me, and you're going to think about it. It's like, okay, Ash, whatever.
Whatever, Ash. There's a whole lot of whatever, Ash.
Yeah.
Because Ash is so gloriously unself-aware in this, and it's kind of refreshing, actually, how unself-aware he is.
Yeah. But that leads up to the moment where they actually witness the Deadites.
Well, because the Deadites start taking over, Paco realizes that it's hitting the whole town, and she's like, oh my God, my mom just showed up in this video thing. Like, what the fuck I can do? I gotta go back home. And Paco's like, no, I know who can help us. And then takes her to Ash's trailer park, where they get assaulted by the rest of the trailer park, who are all possessed. And Ash it realizes, oh shit, I gotta do this, don't I? And he fucking whips out the chainsaw, busts it all out in this badass move, and starts fighting the Deadites and all that stuff. And once that's all done, the girl's sitting there looking at him, all donned in the outfit, and she's like, oh my God. And he's like, told you to think about it. Told you the idea would cross your mind.
Yes. You're just like, God damn it, Ash.
And then Paco's looking at him now that he's taken up the role, finally, taken up the mantle of being Ash, the fucking Deadite Slayer. And he just looks at him and is just like, how does it feel? And then Ash just kind of turns the camera, groovy. And that's the end of the first episode, and you're like, this is the best fucking thing ever.
Yeah. The whole series really basically feels like Evil Dead 3 or 4, depending on where you count.
Yeah.
You
absolutely.
know, god damn it.
This...
I fucking love this show. It was so good.
And because it's a show, it's hard to talk about the whole damn thing.
But... Yeah. The one good thing about it is that, with the exception of the pilot, which I think is an hour long.
Yeah, well, most of the episodes are about a half an hour long.
Yeah, and there are 10 or 12 of them.
Yeah,
so
12.
It's not a long sit. The show does not overstay its welcome.
Actually, I think it's 13.
It's 13,
I think.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
It's a pretty low number because it's like it was a Spike show, right?
It was a Starz.
Starz, yeah.
Which is where Raimi's been doing most of his shows, where Spartacus was.
Oh, right. Yeah, so it's like a Starz show. So only like 13 half-hour episodes. So you could watch the whole thing pretty quickly.
Absolutely. You could probably watch it in a day if you wanted to. Like, if you had a weekend and you just...
Yeah, it's about like 8 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is totally worth it because it is the Evil Dead 4 we always wanted. Obviously, the one thing that separates it from the other movies, above all else, is that this isn't just Ash. This is Ash and friends.
Yeah.
This is Ash, Paco, and I wish I could remember her fucking name because this is gonna kill me. Going on a fucking adventure to stop the Deadites one more time, and along the fucking way, like, you get introduced to all these crazy, like, there's this one demon that they end up running into who fucking he's constantly fucking like phasing out of reality.
Whoa, yeah, like the I think he's the archivist.
Yeah.
He's like a demon that just
absolutely
keeps records.
There's an episode, like, once again, where he goes on an acid vision quest. There's another episode where they come across a compound of like American fucking like conspiracy theorists who have built a bunker of like weapons and ammunition that ends up backfiring.
And this is where it gets a little funny because the whole show is filmed in New Zealand.
Yes.
So you're like, wait, these accents are a little off.
Yes.
And you realize, oh wait, this is shot in New Zealand. And if you're a fan of New Zealand horror, there is an Easter egg here in that one of the survivalists is played by the guy who played the main character in Deathgasm.
Yes, he shows up in this, which is awesome because Deathgasm is basically a heavy metal cover of Evil Dead to begin with.
Yeah. So it was like, hey!
Fuck yeah, he shows up. Well, basically, outside of the three main characters, everyone else is basically a New Zealand extra.
Yeah.
But the three main characters, like, they sound fine, and you spend most of your time with them. Well, actually... Lawless.
And Lucy Lawless shows up.
Lucy
as
Lawless
a main character.
is in this show. I'm not gonna...
let's not ruin who she is.
I'm not gonna ruin who she is, but she is fucking badass in this. And she is basically shows up as this crazed woman who is hunting Ash for some reason.
Yeah.
You don't know why, but she's the one who introduces Ash's hand.
Yeah, because at one point she's looking for him and there's a person who's like, how you gonna find this guy? And she unwraps this thing and it's Ash's hand from Evil Dead 2. He's like, oh, I have ways.
Yes. And the hand just naturally starts pointing in the direction. And the fucking like follow up to that hand, like where that eventually goes, is amazing. Though, once again, don't get attached to certain characters. There's a character we haven't even brought up yet, which is this awesome cop who's basically kind of put in the position that Ash was in the first movie. In the first movie, where she basically she answers a call of a domestic disturbance at this one house. And the place has basically been taken over by these Deadites, and her partner gets killed in front of her and then turns into a Deadite, and then she has to kill her partner. Yeah. And she's let off the force because of, sanity reasons and because of psych evaluations. And it's obvious that the police don't actually really believe her story.
No. They're like,
you're
crazy.
As far as they're concerned, she killed her partner. But basically she's put in the position that Ash was, and she ends up like teaming up with Lucy Lawless to try to track down Ash because it's very clear that everything surrounds him.
Yeah.
And she's a really cool character. She's really awesome. God, what other cool episodes we got going on here?
Every episode is awesome.
They do eventually go back to the cabin. I am 90% sure, based on the way that particular cabin they go back to looked, that it's the cabin from the remake.
Yeah, that out exterior set.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
which is if that's what it is, that's awesome, because that's a really cool way to tie the remake in with the rest of it. Because,
if they want to bring that stuff in,
absolutely. Yeah. They don't have to, but it's a little cool Easter egg for people who like the remake, like we do.
Yeah, because like if they're doing a second season. So, if the main character of the remake shows up in the second season, it would completely make sense.
I'd be totally down with that. I know there's a lot of people who just adamantly hardcore Evil Dead and fans who are purists, and the remake, just because it's a remake, is shit.
Well, those are the same people who refuse to watch the digital remasterings of like fucking Maniac Cop, because it's not filmed, so it's not pure.
Maniac Cop fucking looks glorious, though.
It does. Like, I could see the movie now.
But yeah, like I God damn it! Like, I am so happy. I live in such a world where I got to live long enough to see Evil Dead 4, and not just Evil Dead 4, Evil Dead 4 the series that is continuing.
That's continuing.
We're getting a season 2. Oh my god, this show is fucking great. This show is awesome. Ash versus the Evil Dead is everything I've wanted since I was a kid.
Oh god, it's everything I it's everything I wanted Army of Darkness to be.
Oh yeah,
because like I saw Army of Darkness because I loved Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 so much. Yeah. So when I watched it, I was like, I like Army of Darkness, but there was still that like, that's not the movie I was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah, because every movie in the Evil Dead universe, this is something the purists forget, by the way. Every movie in the Evil Dead universe is slightly different.
Yeah.
The first... excuse me. The first one is a straight-up splatter horror movie.
Yep.
You know, it is horrifying, it is cheesy, it is goofy, and blood flows like crazy. The second one is a horror comedy. There's a lot more slapstick. There's a lot more there's even more Three Stooges references and things like that. And you're basically laughing while you're being horrified a lot of the time. Whereas in the first one, most of the stuff you're laughing at was just cheesiness, not straight up comedy, like in the second one. The third one is a fantasy movie.
Yeah. It has more in common with like Deathstalker than it does with the Evil Dead 2.
It has the tone of the other two movies, but it is more of a fantasy movie than it is a horror movie. So it's like a fantasy comedy.
Yeah.
Like with some of the Evil Dead stuff sprinkled throughout. This one goes a little bit more back to the horror comedy thing, but what separates it, what makes it a little different, is that it is a ongoing show.
Yeah.
You know, which means they can do a whole lot more with it, you know, a whole lot more character development. And you will never, watching this show, you get to know Ash way more than either movie.
Movies. We could spend like 8 hours with him.
Yeah.
An hour and a half.
You really get a good feel of who he is and what he wants, what his desires are, things that really don't come up much in the other movies because you just don't have the time for it.
Yeah.
You know, like they've got some good suffering to get in.
Yeah,
you know? You know, and don't worry, if you like me, love watching Ash suffering. You get all.
There's a lot.
Oh, that's another thing. The remake's also slightly different from the other ones. You know, it goes a little bit more back to the first one, but is way more of a post Hostel and Saw version of that.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. It's not like it's ripping it off. It's actually taking like the best. It's taken the best of that, learning from it, and using it.
Yeah, and that's not to say it's a torture movie. I just mean the intensity that those movies.
Yeah. Because like that's a lot more like the remake is a lot more about just mutilation.
Yeah. The remake is even more mean-spirited than the other movies.
Oh, absolutely.
And the other movies are very mean-spirited, but
but in those, like, you're kind of like,
yeah.
But in the remake, it's just starkly horrifying.
Absolutely, and I love it. I love every single iteration of Evil Dead.
Yeah,
well, I mean, cinematically, the games and shit. Like some of those.
Right.
Some of those are very
video
good.
games are pretty.
But like
balls.
Evil Dead 1's awesome. Evil Dead 2 is one of the best sequels ever made. Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness is really fucking fun. Fucking the Evil Dead remake is fucking brutal as shit, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And Ash vs. the Evil Dead is one of my favorite horror shows right now.
Oh
like,
God, like
Which is
I think
saying
it
a
is.
lot.
I think it's my favorite of the ones that I've watched.
Yeah. Which is saying a lot for me because we're living in an age right now where we're kind of in a renaissance of horror TV shows. you
Yeah,
know?
but this one was the best way to put Ash vs. Evil Dead is this show has balls.
Oh, it really does.
It just has it has balls because usually, like, all right, like Supernatural is a horror show, but it's it's real super lightweight, you know.
But you can tell that this show actually is inspired a bit by Supernatural because they started using the kind of end rock music cue that Supernatural did.
Yeah, it did
at the end of every episode. And I thought that was kind of cool nod.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, oh man. And because of that, like I kept expecting Sam and Dean to show up.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, Supernatural is much tamer compared to Ash vs.
Yeah, and even
which is the network show versus
but even like
show.
some of the other cable horror shows, like what's the Hannibal had balls.
Hannibal had fucking balls.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ,
that one had balls.
Oh my God! If you haven't seen Hannibal yet, go fuck it. Like that's
But most of the others are like really tame in kind of everything that they do, which is a big problem. Like even, I'm not saying the Walking Dead don't have balls. I'm saying the Ash vs. Evil Dead got more balls.
Oh, definitely, and it's only gonna get better because
it's
been greenlit for season 2, so we are getting more. And oh man, the $1 Million Man is playing Ash's dad.
Oh my God, yeah, fucking oh my God.
Yeah.
Fucking God. Like the only thing that would have been better was what Bruce Campbell was campaining for was to have his dad played by Shatner.
I would have totally been down for that too.
Yeah, but like I will take Lee Majors as Ash's dad.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. That sounds great.
Absolutely.
Damn.
Oh God, like there's so much more to talk about this show, but I feel like we need to wrap this up at some point. So basically, all right, if you haven't gotten it already, Ash vs. the Evil Dead is fucking awesome. You need to watch it. You need to stop this right now, or go watch more of our videos if you want to. But after that, go watch Ash vs. the Evil Dead, start to finish. Don't fucking stop for nothing. All right? Awesome. Fuck yeah.